Okay, here's a video about how to find the midpoint when you're given 2 points. If I want to find the midpoint, in other words, the point that's perfectly in the middle of 2, 4, and 12, 8, I could probably just look and kind of tell that the midpoint's probably going to be that guy right there. Or in other words, let's see, 7, 6 is what that looks like. So I can tell this by looking that it's going to be 7, 6. But sometimes it might not be a whole number, it might be a fraction or decimal, your graph might be too big for you to just count over and up, so it might not always be so easy to just count and find the midpoint. Well, if I look at my coordinates, I can tell that this 7 is halfway in between 2 and 12, or in other words, my two x values, and that 6 is halfway in between my two y values of 4 and 8. So if I want to find that point algebraically, I could use this formula, x2 plus x1 over 2, and then y2 plus y1 over 2. Now I can just label my points. I'll call that x1 and y1, and I'll call the other one x2 and y2. Now let's use our formula and see what happens. So to find the x-coordinate of my midpoint, I can do x2 plus x1. That would be 12 plus 2 over 2. And then comma, and then for my y values, I do y2 plus y1 over 2, or in other words, 8 plus 4 over 2. If I simplify, that's 14 over 2, and that's 12 over 2, or in other words, 7 comma 6, which is the same thing that we got whenever I looked on my graph. So remember, there's your formula for midpoint. It's basically halfway in between your x values and then halfway in between your y values.